Welcome to Movies, Films, and Flicks. I am Mark Hoffmeyer, and joining me for a second time is a man who gets so angry at Facebook polls featuring Die Hard vs. Gremlins that he attacks the 18 people who dared vote for Gremlins. It's Tom Tresemer.
Hey, Mark. Good to be back. Thanks for having me.
I mean, Gremlins was losing to Die Hard spectacularly. I mean, it ended up being like something probably 70-30, and you're just online hating on the Gremlins fans.
I'm really glad you brought this up because last night when I was going to bed, I thought about this, and I think me voicing my opinion changed the flow of that vote. That was like an online filibuster, and I went off on a tangent and completely swayed that vote into Die Hard's favor.
I feel like you bullied some people into just submission.
Sometimes you got to bully somebody into common sense.
Onto movies, films, and flicks, arbitrary polls.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you just need to fix people's, they need to have the right opinion.
You know what's funny is, so Tom, I know you. We spent a lot of, we've been Facebook friends for, I think, 6 years now.
I think we just had our Facebook anniversary.
Yeah, that's right. And we knew each other before then too. We didn't commit, we had to have that moment where we
Yeah.
You're a chill dude. But on Facebook, on these polls, you're a different person. So when people read your stuff on movies, films, and flicks, they're like, "Who? This guy is out of his mind." And then when I talk to you, you're super chill.
Well, something just flips in me, especially when you're comparing Die Hard to Gremlins. Like, I like Gremlins. It's just not on the level of Die Hard. It never will be.
Die Hard is a classic, but Gremlins gets my vote every minute of the day. Because of the speech from Phoebe Cates, the Santa speech, about her dad plunging into the chimney and snapping his neck, and they smell stuff. Like, that's the weirdest speech in in quotation marks, a children's movie ever.
Let's just say her dad wouldn't have made it out of the first 5 minutes of Die Hard if he was in the Nakatomi Plaza.
I mean, he wasn't a cop. I mean, that story's just so weird, Tom. Like, this just... When you're watching Gremlins and you hear that speech, you're like, I can't believe this is in that movie. And then the kitchen fight where the mom wipes out the Gremlins in blenders and microwaves.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we're not arguing.
That.
Like, it's so like
Didn't she put one in the microwave?
Yeah, she blew it up and she put one in a blender. And you know what I love about that scene is, and normally like moms would fall victim to the villains. But the mom stepped up and just jacked up 3 Gremlins. Like, that was impressive.
It is impressive. It's not John McClane impressive, but,
Wait, I mean,
they're getting there.
In comparison, a mother in her late 40s, 50s, going head-to-head with 3 Gremlins that jumped her and taking them out without the usage of guns, with practical weapons, I'd say that's on the same skill set as a trained police officer attacking an overconfident terrorist force who did not see him coming.
I don't know. I just don't know.
I just shook you. Your knees kind of rattled a little bit there.
Well, because it's your show, so I just don't want to put you down that quick.
But that makes sense, though, what I just said. The look on your face was like, Mark has a point. And now you're trying to pull it off his bluster as being on the Movies, Films, and Flicks podcast.
No, you just caught me a little off guard. I didn't know we were going to go this direction with it this early. But I was just going to say, like, I think any mother trying to protect their children could go crazy on a bunch of Gremlins.
But she kept her cool, though.
She kept her cool, but she still downed them. But I think my mother could do that.
She went I guess she went full mama bear.
She would go like full mama bear and stuff them in all the egg beaters and blenders she could find.
I'd have to stick mine in the Vitamix. I wouldn't want to wreck the Vitamix. I love my Vitamix. And
Could you get one in a magic bullet, or is that too small?
I like my Vitamix. And I wouldn't stick it in the microwave because you know how much cleaning that would be? I would just...
Oh, it'd be way too much cleaning, unless you had one of those plastic, like, dome covers.
I would rather take a couple a couple Gremlin bites than clean a microwave with an exploded Gremlin.
So I got a question, because it's been a long time since I've seen that movie. The little Gremlins use weapons at times, don't they?
Oh, yeah.
They're throwing knives.
In the second one, they're using guns and throwing pots and pans.
If they had no knives or props, don't you think a human could take a couple gremlins pretty easily? I mean, they've got a good bite
Right.
to them, but it's not like their mouth is that huge where they could like rip somebody's throat out.
Well, it could get your throat, and they're smart, so they could go after your eyes. I would say they have the strength level of a baboon, and a baboon immediately goes for eyes or throats.
Okay.
They know what's up. The problem is they're smart. That's the main issue with them. You know what I mean?
Are they smart like crow level smart or raven level?
They're watching Snow White and singing to it.
Okay, that's pretty smart. I can't even sing to Snow White.
And that's presumably the first time they had watched it.
Okay, you got a point there. Your first point of this conversation.
McEnroe 1, Borg 0. All right, yeah, that was a good. I love Gremlins. All right, so move. Oh wait, actually, in Gremlins 2, Phoebe Cates does punt the flashing gremlin pretty far.
I remember that.
So you can take these things out. Like it's not. I would rather fight a gremlin than that blonde terrorist in Die Hard.
Oh yeah, from Die Hard 3.
From the first Die Hard with the long hair who gets hung.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about the blonde, the female blonde. That,
who slices and dices? I'd rather fight
Jeremy Irons.
No
love
way.
Interest.
I'd rather fight the big blonde guy in Die Hard than the slice and dice lady.
The Norwegian model.
She made necks explode in Die Hard with a Vengeance.
All to what's that song? Johnny Comes Marching Home.
Oh yeah, I mean that was a legit scene. I saw that in sixth grade and I was like, this is awesome. All right, so you're joining me today. We brought you in for the first time for A Good Day to Die Hard. We love that movie, and that's a hacking movie. And then I'm bringing you in for this movie, which is a hacking movie.
I feel like we gotta have some connecting themes to every podcast I join you with.
Yeah, so we're doing a 90s hacker film, and so you suggested this, and I hadn't watched this movie I would say I watched it on VHS probably when I was 16 to 18. Came out in 95 when I was 13, so I watched it then. So it's probably been easily 17, 18 years since I had watched it. And I like this movie more than when I was younger because a lot of people talk about this movie. There's midnight screenings. They're like, oh, we make fun of it. There's some bad lines, the dialogue. But you watch this movie, and I think the reason why it's still relevant and why there are midnight screenings and they're doing 20-year anniversary screenings for it is that the characters in this film almost feel like a family. The hackers aren't bad. And this movie came out in 95, and it was just like a kind of rebellious high school hacking movie with a very weird sense of style. The costumers were all British, and they added this weird sensibility to it. And it's just, I like the way that these characters interact, and I thought Ebert made a great point when he was talking about the actors in this film, and he said, what did he say? Well, I just like how the actors, they feel real, and their conversations, like when Freak is arrested, I'm freaking, and Matthew Lillard, I like Matthew Lillard's character in the serial killer, because
cereal with a C.
Yeah, I love that. And
like the food cereal.
They named the cereal like the something, but I like how every house he goes to, he's like, hey man, can I stay here? Like he's kind of homeless, he can't go home. He goes to Johnny Lee Miller's house, and there's a scene where the mom's like, hey, help yourself to anything in the fridge, cereal already has. But he's this character who definitely acts out, but he has a sad kind of life. His parents don't like him because they miss Woodstock because of him, according to Freak. But
yeah, I think all the characters are very relatable, and I think that's part of the thing. It has such a good following. Is I was reading an interview by Ian Softly, the director. Did I say his name right? Ian Softly.
Yeah.
Okay. And he mentioned kind of during the time that this movie came out that there weren't a lot of movies aimed at like teenagers and young adults, kind of that high school age. Yeah, and so when it came out, that was one of the few movies that was actually hitting that time period in people's lives. And that's what kind of drew that, all together. And people really related to those characters, even if they didn't necessarily relate to the technological aspects of it.
Because you think about the 90s, in the 80s you had a lot of high school movies, but in the early 90s, before Scream hit, and Dawson's Creek and all that kind of stuff, you had, movies like Slacker or Clerks, which were the older generation, the Gen X 20-somethings, Ethan Hawke running around. Then you had Kids, which was a super hard R rated movie. This was a PG-13 film about these kids weren't even misfits in their school. They were kind of the cool kids, or they didn't care. They weren't bullied.
No, they definitely weren't bullied.
So you have this clique where they're just kind of their own thing, and they made them seem cool. And also another thing I like about this movie is the bad guy. There's a line in here where he and the woman that Lauren Bracco, the relationship they have a lot of money, whatever. But I like when he
Lorraine
says,
Bracco, yeah.
She's like the main villain. He's like, there is no right and wrong. There's only fun and boring. And that really made up his character as a name. Like, he's just this nihilistic hacker who got a job with a major corporation, and he was just using it to take money because he was a nihilistic hacker. And I love that, there's only fun and boring. So he didn't have to do any of this, and that line makes him more believable in the way that they kind of use the early... I mean, the 80s obviously had war games and movies like that, but they're using the internet to their advantage over people who didn't really quite understand it yet. And, I mean, that's a cool thing, man. I know people are probably going to say I'm giving this movie too much credit, but it has... All right, you look at cult classics. I'm talking a lot, Tom. This is a movie you want to talk about. But you look at cult classics like Rocky Horror Picture or Boondock Saints. These movies have personality to them. They're very unique in their tone, and I think that's why this movie still has an audience, because it's very unique in the way it tells its story with its characters.
Well, and I think too the early foresight of what the internet could be, because that was still very much in the infancy stages there in the mid 90s. I mean, it was kind of right around the time that email was starting to be used more widely among businesses and corporations. But I found a little thing here, with Ian Softly, that he wanted to make like a what's the next big thing type of movie. And he had previously directed Backbeat, which I think was about the Beatles.
Yeah.
I have not seen that, but it's, it's kind of about the revolution of rock and roll. And so he wanted to find the next big movement. In here, they thought it was going to be computers and technology. I think for the most part, he got that pretty right on. Yeah.
And, another way I think this movie has aged well is that the internet and the hacking in this film, it doesn't take place in this world. So people are like, oh, could hackers really do this? Well, the thing is, the hackers did do it in the movie. So it's not our world to analyze it. So they created this very different style of internet. Even though they did, they say that going through back doors to get into there's some smart hacking parts in this film. But I like how it just creates a weird world of hacking. So you can't... especially,
and like the depiction of what the internet looks like to them. And I found something where Softly said, like, he was looking at, the cocaine boom of the 80s was like the fad, and that's what everybody was wanting to do then to get their fix. And in this time, it's the internet. Like, everybody wants to be on the internet. Nowadays, that's so true. I mean, we're not separated from our phones or tablets or anything that's connected to the Wi-Fi. And so he was talking about it being kind of like this LSD trip that these hackers get. Like, that's the only way they can get their fix. And so it's like through the eyes of them, that's what it looks like. It's not realistic in its depiction, but how they wanted to visualize it and contextualize it on screen, with all these crazy, digits and numbers and symbols flying all over with all the color schemes and all that stuff, that's what they were aiming for.
And also, I know this sounds weird, but, you have, so the different types of hackers. Angelina Jolie's mom is never home. Then you have Johnny Lee Miller, who was arrested in his parents' divorce. You have Matthew Lillard, who's homeless. You have people who maybe are, escaping from a certain lifestyle into this hacking world where they found their own subculture. So it's like another interesting thing. And I also liked how everyone drank Coke and ate candy, because you think about gamers nowadays and Mountain Dew and stuff like that. When I lived in Korea, a lot of the people who would go to PC bongs, they weren't allowed super energy drinks because they would play and get obsessed with that world all night. So all night hacks are not that far off from what actually happens with hacking in computers.
Yeah.
And also, 94 was the first movie website, Star Trek. They were the first movie website. Did you know that? The new Star Trek movie?
I did not know that.
Yeah. So the internet still really was like in its infancy figuring things out back then. I know this was 95, but it was filmed in 94. But I thought that was pretty interesting,
That's
too.
That's a good fact.
Yeah, well, I wrote about the movies of 94 and how I don't know, go to Movies on the Flicks, type in 1994, and you'll read my article about the movies in 94 and how influential they were. Like, Stargate came out and has like 400 episodes of TV shows since then.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's like, that lived on. But
I
hey.
assume you talked about Pulp Fiction in there.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, these movies just, it's kind of wild how influential 90 was. Like, I could make a case for 94 just being one of the most influential years ever. I mean, 67 was good too. Whatever, we're getting off topic. But this movie, man, actually, before we get into it, we have a little something set up that I want to do. No, wait, let's do that. Let's talk about hackers, and then we'll talk about our favorite computer looker-atters at the end of the pod.
At the end of it, okay. Before we actually dive into the movie, there's a section where Mark Anthony, who's randomly cast as a random Secret Service agent, is talking about the Hacker Manifesto. And I think that's very important to the development of this movie. The Hacker Manifesto was a online article, or not an online article. It was a article that was published in Phack magazine, P-H-A-C-K, I believe. Mm-hmm. It's either Phack or Frack. I could have it wrong here. By a hacker called The Mentor. And it was shortly after he was arrested in the mid-'80s. I just wanted to read part of it really quickly that I think kind of sums up what these characters are. This is our world now, the world of the electron and the switch. We exist without skin color, without nationality, without religious bias, and you call us criminals. Yes, I am a criminal. My crime is that of curiosity. My crime is that of judging people by what they say and think, not what they look like. My crime is that of outsmarting you, something that you will never forgive me for. I am a hacker, and this is my manifesto. You may stop this individual, but you cannot stop us all. And that came out shortly after War Games came out back in the early 80s. And The Mentor would go on to say that War Games gave hackers and this new kind of generation of technological kids a really bad reputation because everybody viewed them as kids that were breaking into, giant supercomputers and potentially not knowing what they're doing, possibly starting either a nuclear war or just trying to play checkers with a machine. And so they really received this bad reputation. And there in the mid 80s to the early 90s, there were two huge hacker groups that came about called the Legion of Doom and Masters of Deception. And they were these massive hacking groups that would hack into all these businesses, but for the most part, they had ethics. So it's like they weren't doing it to be malicious in nature. They were trying to figure out how these systems were built and, for whatever reason, how they framed themselves as not being malicious and they weren't trying to be criminals. Eventually there were guys that kind of broke off from that.
Like every group, right? And
so I kind of view the characters of this movie like that. Like these are the hacking kids that have morals and ethics. For the most part, they're not doing anything horrible. But then you've got the guys that are doing something horrible, like the Fisher Stevens, who plays the Plague, kind of splintering off and doing his salami slicing, money scheme. So I thought that was kind of an interesting turn in how I kind of thought that, that little backstory kind of shaped the Hackers movie in general.
That scheme has been used in other movies too, where they take like a penny off a dollar.
Yeah.
It's a good scheme.
They recycled that from one of the Superman movies too.
Oh yeah, Richard Pryor. Well, yeah. So I mean, I guess you're right about these hackers, but Johnny Lee Miller, one of the times we first meet him, he's at home in his room and he hacks a TV station so we can watch Outer Limits. Yeah. And then they have a battle. I mean, that is illegal because studios are paying for ad time, and when you put these on, that disrupts it, which means money that is paid for advertising space gets disrupted, and it's not malicious, but it's still a pain in the ass.
Oh yeah, I would agree.
All right, cool. Johnny Lee Miller has a very meaty English American accent in this movie. I can't explain it.
He kind of loses it at times.
I don't know what the word is, but it's very chew. Like someone called Rafe Spall, his accent in Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom, meaty or chewy or something. And I mean, it's still good, but listening to it, it was kind of a unique thing. So what'd you think about the cast in this movie? Like, did you like Johnny Lee Miller and Jolie? Right, when we were 15, everyone loved Jolie in this movie. 13.
Oh yeah, I mean it was one of her first movies, so obviously you have to I always loved her. I mean, she has the kind of that cyberpunk hotness about her. You know, the short hair with the heavy eye makeup and all that stuff.
You know, they had Katherine Heigl cast, but then she
I
couldn't
saw that.
do it. And then, you know, when Jolie showed up for this movie, she had long hair and was acting all bookish. And then he's like, no, I want like a punk. And then she cut all her hair off. And they're wearing they wear like she's wearing scuba gear in this movie, which is pretty, or surf gear.
And then she claims that she got typecast shortly after this for being like the gun-toting, you know, badass.
I mean,
that eventually went on to like Tomb Raider and all that stuff.
I guess I could see that. I mean, they definitely do use her attractiveness in this movie to its full extent.
Oh yeah, they do.
I like what Ebert said about it. He's like, Jolie, the daughter of Joan Voight, and Miller, the British newcomer, bring a particular quality to their performances as convincing and engaging, and the other kids in the movie are interesting too, especially a young Latin genius named Freak, played by Renoli Santiago. I saw this movie not long after viewing Dangerous Minds, and was struck by how much more authentic these characters seemed. They're younger, more intense, and vulnerable, and more gawky than hunky. I think that's another reason why people really like these movies.
In terms of characters too, I've always been a big fan of Johnny Lee Miller, and this is the movie that put, you know, him on the map for me. I would have seen this probably 3 or 4 years after it released, back when it probably came on Encore, way back when. And my sister forced me to watch it, and I've always been a big fan of him and tried to follow what he's been in. But I mean, it's got a great, you know, it's almost got like a great, do you want to call it like a B list of actors?
Well, so at the time though, I wouldn't say they weren't because they were so young, all of them. Like Johnny Lee Miller, Matthew Lillard was coming off a Serial Mom, that was good. So I mean, Fisher Stevens maybe, and then you had Bunk from The Wire in it, which is awesome. He's the Secret Service agent that they prank on. But I would say they're just a bunch of young actors. Like I wouldn't, like, you know, when they got American Pie, those kids, they weren't B-list, they were just new.
No, I guess I meant like nowadays. Like I don't see Matthew Lillard in big movies anymore.
He's become a character actor in Twin Peaks, The Bridge. He's been in some really good TV shows. Oh, he was in Bosch, season 2. So I think Hollywood finally figured, he's a big dude. He's like 6'4".
He is a big guy.
And he was really, you know, he's skinny in this movie, but he's filled out. So now he's like an intimidating, like bigger dude as far as an actor. And he's landed a bunch of good roles. Did you see him in The Bridge?
I have not. Yeah, you're right. He was in Scream shortly after this too.
And then he was in SLC Punk in '98. So in the '90s, between Hackers, Scream, and SLC Punk, if you put those 3 movies in a time capsule, that's a really good encapsulation of the '90s.
Was he in The 13th Floor?
13 Ghosts.
13 Ghost.
And he was all right. This is controversial, right? But I thought he was leading man quality in 13 Ghosts. I thought he was really good in that movie. I liked him a lot.
But then where do you categorize Scooby-Doo?
Oh, okay. Now, those movies made a boatload of money.
They did make a lot of money.
He was a perfect Shaggy. And I put this up on MFF Facebook, one of my favorite scenes, where in Scooby-Doo 2 Monsters Unleashed, he and Scooby are being chased. They're being chased, and they lock themselves in a room. This is the only part I remember of the movie. Lock themselves in a room. They turn around, and I've told you a story, but this thing goes, I'm the cotton candy glob. And Scooby and Shaggy are scared at first, but then they smile, and then the cotton candy glob starts cowering like it's in fear, and Scooby and Shaggy eat a monster.
I might have to go watch that again.
Well, actually, just go to Movies Films, because it's not that great of a movie, but just go to Movies Films and Flicks Facebook page, and I put the clip up today. When we're done with this, you'll be able to watch that clip. Because they eat a cotton candy glob, but the cotton candy glob looks legitimately frightened.
So then they killed him.
Yeah, they murdered a monster.
They literally ate him. Yeah. That's gross.
But they went from scared to, we're going to eat this monster.
That's great.
That's a pretty good moment, dude.
Yeah, I'll check that out when we're done here.
Hey, so in the beginning, when Johnny Lee Miller's 11-year-old character gets arrested because he hacked something like 1,500 places, there's a lot of FBI and Secret Service running with machine guns to this house.
Yeah, there are. And it's all to a great soundtrack.
Is that what would happen? I know you're an expert on hacking or hackers getting arrested.
I would think so. And first of all,
national security, right?
Yeah, I didn't realize Secret Service was in charge of that type of, investigations. But sure enough, they are right. The Secret Service would be leading that type of investigation. But I sure think so. I mean, what does Wikipedia say right here? 1,507 computer systems crash in a single day, causing a single day 7-point drop in the New York Stock Exchange. I mean, that's a pretty big time. I would call it a felony for
you're right.
somebody, and especially being in the late 80s. I mean, that's like unheard of back then.
You mess with the if you mess with
the best,
the money. Oh, you mess with the best. No, if you mess with money in the United States, they're gonna that much money, you're gonna get in trouble.
Oh yeah,
you're done.
He did.
Yeah,
he did. So he ended up being fined. His family fined $45,000, and he's on probation, banned from a computer use until his 18th birthday.
I mean, with inflation, that's over $100,000.
Yeah,
and that seems to have driven the mother and father apart from each other. Because they had a nice home with
that could break up a family.
And they had enough. So for him to be able to do that all right, so they said 7 years later, and this is 95. So in 88, to have that computer on the internet, right? They had to have some money. Like, that's a big deal for 88, right?
Probably would be. My guess, again, you don't ever hear the backstory of the father. But the father is probably somewhere in the technological realm, IT area. So my thought is he probably already has that type of stuff at work at home, and there's little Dade Murphy, zero cool, playing around on his father's system.
Wasn't it like Portland maybe they were in, or was it Silicon Valley they were somewhere kind of, I'm not saying Portland's techie, but
it was Portland or like Seattle or something.
Yeah, so
up in the Northeast, yeah.
So he maybe had a job. You're right. He probably worked for a tech company. Because in 88, I didn't touch a computer in 88. Did you?
No, I didn't either. I wasn't walking yet.
I was 6. I was like a feral child running around the woods. I was like the kid from Road Warrior. All right, so they moved to New York. He's all mad about that because he doesn't have a lawn. His mom. You know what I miss about 80s, 90s movies is in those films. Home Alone, Ferris Bueller, parents are never home.
No, they're not.
I mean, you can't make movies where teenagers are just on their own anymore. Is that, you know what I mean?
No, that's not very PC nowadays. You can't just leave them to their own devices and let them figure out what they're gonna do.
Yeah, she was like, I'm gonna be home late, so he's out at all hours of the day.
Well, again, I guess they just moved to New York. She's a single mom. She's probably working 3 jobs
to pay for that.
Yeah, just to pay for their little 500 square foot apartment in New York.
Yeah, they have 2 bedrooms.
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty big.
They're living in the high life in New York.
So, all right, so he gets to school, he meets Jolie, Angelina Jolie, and then they do that trick to him about looking for the swimming pool on the roof, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you know it's based on a true story.
Tell me.
Well, they used to do that in this company in New York. They would say on the 6th floor there was a swimming pool, and then they would go up to the 6th floor and they get locked down.
So that's where that came from.
Yeah, so it's a real joke. You laughed so hard. That's a knee slapper right there, Tom.
I don't think I would fall for that joke.
I mean, all right. I was working in a movie theater, and my buddy DJ told a guy to empty the water fountain, and someone tried to do it. So I think you could get someone to fool people.
I think people would fall for it. If someone told me that there was an Olympic-sized swimming pool on the roof of a school, I'd go, no, I don't think so.
Because there are hotels with pools on the top, and if you see the Mechanic, there's giant pools.
Yeah, where he cuts through the bottom of one.
The Mechanic 2.
The Mechanic 2, Resurrection.
Electric Boogaloo. Where he just murders everybody in that movie.
That's a bad movie.
I like Statham, but I don't like it when he's basically immortal. And the Rock movies, too. The Rock and him are just becoming... It's good that they're in movies now. Because, I thought Vin Diesel was smart to make himself immortal in The Last Witch Hunter. Because I'm like, it makes sense. Because he would be immortal in any other movie. Now it's explained.
Yeah.
But The Rock and Statham, you just can't touch them.
No, they're that good. And apparently, they're not immortal. There's just no one else better.
Apparently could kill 47 police officers in the beginning of Furious 7 and become a good guy in The Fate of the Furious.
Yeah, I was kind of always wondering about that.
And
he
Han.
Literally kills everybody and Han, and they're like, we never really cared for Han that much.
I think this idea would fall apart, Tom, but I think, and I'm patenting this, that you know the scene in the first Fast and the Furious where Vin Diesel's car wipes out and then he flips and gets hit by the train?
Yeah,
So I think the rest of the series, so he's in a coma after that, and all of this is just in his head in a dream state.
that would make a lot of sense.
I mean, so he's
That would
dream.
really explain Fast 8.
Yeah, I mean,
Just all of the absurdity in that movie.
he had met. So maybe he had met all these people before, or they were in the hospital, like taking care of him, and he just sort of sees them, and then he plays this scenario out in his head.
I agree with that.
Right.
I like that. I'm
Oh.
signed on. I'm signed on to that theory.
All right, so one thing I do like in this film is I like when they first go to a club and it's Serial, Freak, Jesse Bradford, swim fan, and him, and that song "Get Yourself Connected" is on.
Get yourself connected.
Oh no, this is when
Writings on the
that was
wall.
my first cassette single I ever owned, Tom.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and
Stereo MCs connected?
no, I messed up because that's when they went to Jolie's party at her house, and I just want
Yeah, that's true.
The main problem I have with this movie, not a problem, but there's a lot of ADR, Tom.
Is there? I haven't picked up on it.
Oh my gosh.
Is it a lot of stuff out of lip sync?
Yeah, that scene with let's see, the Plague and his boss, the two of them, that entire scene by the escalators, all ADR'd. And then when they go into the house at the party, Matthew Lillard's walking around, he's like, "Matthew Lillard in the house!" And he's just like talking to everybody. His voice isn't even moving. They're just through lines in there.
Are you sure your internet speed just isn't fast enough that it's not buffering?
Trust me, just watch it. Watch it. You'll obviously see. And then the worst line of the movie comes during Jolie's party where it's Freak and Serial, and Freak looks at a girl and he goes, "Look at that pooper."
Yeah.
And then he goes, "Spandex. It's a privilege, not a right."
Not a right.
And I just went, that's the look at that pooper. That is the grossest thing that I've ever seen in my life. Like her. Look at that pooper.
But she is an attractive woman. So is that an attractive
No,
pooper?
it was someone else.
That was okay, I thought it was the lady in red spandex that they're talking about.
They were saying that they were looking at somebody else, and they're saying she shouldn't be wearing spandex.
Okay.
But that really came across as against these characters because they are very inclusive.
Well, they are like 17 years old.
Yeah, that's true. I guess since they're all 30 in the movie, you're like, you think they're older than high schoolers. And
yeah, I mean, they're 17. That's the mindset. That's the,
Yeah. And then I do like during that party, this kind of highlights the dynamic where Jolie and her boyfriend go into that room and he like takes off her top and they're like, he did it with one hand. And then some guy goes, difficulty rating. And then some guy goes 7. And then some other guy goes 1 hand. So like they all play off each other with dialogue. So I thought that was pretty fun. And then during that scene though, they do say some kind of funky lines where they're like, her boyfriend does call him Leper Boy in the Decepticons. But I do like when they're like, well, "You're in the butter zone now, baby." And they're like, "I bet it looks crispy in the dark." But those are hacker. Ian Softly dealt with hackers, and that's what hackers said.
Interesting.
I bet it looks crispy in the dark, and you're in the butter zone now, baby. Those are real sayings.
And I don't even know what "you're in the butter zone" means. I don't know if I want to know.
Yeah, but I mean, that's what hackers said.
Well, during that party too, we're also introduced to Lord Nikon, played by who is that?
Oh yeah, he's
Lawrence
awesome.
Mason.
Yeah,
the photo memory kid of the group.
And he was so good in Chasing Amy too.
Yeah, I loved his character in this movie.
Well,
I don't think he's utilized enough.
I loved when him and Lillard, they were planning to battle the main guy, who's this? I keep forgetting skateboarding baddie's name, the Plague. And they're
Fisher Stevens.
They're getting this booklet about the streets, and some guy comes up from a service tunnel, or like a sewer tunnel, I guess, and he's like, "What are you guys doing?" And then the both of them yell, "Truck!" And then the guy looks, and then they run away. Like it's little touches like that really make this movie good. And the writer is Raphael Moreau, but he also wrote Rage, Carrie 2, which was not good. He hasn't done much since. But I don't know. I don't know how much of this was. A lot of it had to have been improv. Do you think?
I'm
by
thinking
these guys?
It's got to be improv. Yeah. A bunch of it has to be improv.
But I do think the story is pretty chill. Like Jesse Bradford goes in, gets a garbage file that they find out has been skimming money, and the guy can't do anything about it, the Plague. So he makes up a character that's going to sink tankers because the tankers are all manual, so that these people get arrested and then they can get away with their $21.8 million. I mean, it's
Yeah,
pretty
so-
absurd, but it's still fun.
So everybody's got their hacker handles, and Jesse Bradford, Joey, wants to get his own alias, but they say he's got to earn it. So the only way he thinks he can earn it is by hacking into this Gibson computer, which is a fictional supercomputer, similar to like the Crays, like 1 and 2 from the 80s. And so this is like the Ellingson Mineral Company's supercomputer that runs the navigation systems for their oil tankers and their fleet. And so he hacks this Gibson and he copies like a fragmented portion of the garbage file. And as you said, that's what the Plague has been hiding his worm virus in, which I don't think a worm virus can technically skim financials.
In that world, it can.
In that world, it can. So he somehow created that virus, and because of Joey copying the file and technically copying part of his virus, he's got to cover it up somehow, afraid that he's going to get exposed. So then he creates the Da Vinci virus that's based off of, what is that called? The Vitruvian Man from Leonardo da Vinci, and creates the virus and calls in the Secret Service then to bust Joey and try to get the disc back so then he can, dissect the disc and cover up his own crime.
I mean, it's not a terrible plan, right? To get other people working for you?
No, I mean, I think his biggest flaw was getting the Secret Service involved in the first place.
Yeah.
I mean, chances are if he had just left Joey alone after he copied that garbage file, he probably wouldn't have been able to figure anything out, let alone the other hackers.
Yeah, because all they would have learned was that a hacker was just skimming money, right?
Yeah, and that's if the kid hackers even figured that out, because they never even decided to look at that fragmented code until Joey got busted by the Secret Service. So then that's what drove them to dive into it even further.
Oh, so what I kind of like about the Plague is he's a dork. Like he's just a dork that got hired, but he just kind of got caught, and then he got a bad situation. But he thinks he's awesome because he rules that world. He's like David Spade, the tech guy, or Rob Schneider, the tech guy in SNL.
Yeah, he's the ultimate techie henchman with the ultimate techie henchman goatee. And
then this is the beginning of kind of that sort of tech problem. So he probably had a lot of control because all these CEOs probably grew up in the 60s, 70s, 80s. So they didn't know anything about computers. So they're like, We got this idiot named the Plague, but he tells us he's doing all this stuff for us.
So an interesting thing with that isn't as far-fetched as it sounds. As I was mentioning earlier, like the Legion of Doom and the Masters of Deception, those hacker groups from the late 80s and 90s, early 90s, a lot of them got busted and either sentenced to like a house probation or like jail time. But several of those guys went on to become IT security software engineers for major companies.
Really?
Yeah, so I feel like that's probably something similar to what the Plague went through. So he may not have ever gotten busted, but he was obviously, a previous hacker that had some malicious intent and then figured out that he could make a living designing software for supercomputers, security for supercomputers, and that's how he got into that area.
I feel like he's the kind of hacker who narked on other people and then got that role.
Oh, totally. Him and then he brought his buddy Penn Jillette with him.
Yeah.
Talking about just a random casting choice there.
The one thing I don't miss from the 90s are those circular sunglasses.
Yeah.
There's a scene when we first meet Matthew Lillard's character Serial where he has such tiny circular glasses that I don't know what they do.
They keep the light out of something you're looking directly at. Otherwise, all the other ambient light's still going to blind you.
I guess the computer, you look at those screens a lot. I don't know.
That's the British fad right there. That's is that what the Brits all wore?
Maybe. I mean, what's funny? When they first started dressing all these stars, the director and other people were like, what the hell is happening? I thought that was a pretty interesting thing. They were like, I don't know about this.
I read a thing where Renoli Santiago, who plays the Phantom Freak, he looked forward to all the casting, or not all the casting, all the wardrobe and costume designs. Like every day that he went in for a fitting, he loved just seeing what these guys threw at him, whereas Lawrence Mason absolutely hated it. Like he hated going in for costume fittings because he thought the clothing was so weird.
Oh, interesting. Because they put that Santiago in cat T-shirts and stuff. He was loving that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I'm freaking.
They all had some rather weird, weird wardrobe.
Lillard had the weirdest one when we first meet him. Like very low jeans and then something tied around his neck.
And then he didn't have pigtails. He had like quad tails in his hair.
And I like how Jolie, to show how tough she was, she didn't put the helmet on when they're riding on the motorcycle.
She threw it over her shoulder.
Yeah, but I was just thinking, that's stupid. Like, that's not tough. Like, not wearing a helmet while on the motorcycle is not, you're not a tough guy. You are dumb?
I was going to say, it's, stupidity and toughness often go hand in hand.
But they are 17.
Yeah.
And when I learned to ride a motorcycle, I had shorts and sandals on, and I ran into a mailbox, flipped over, it hurt my knee, then the muffler burned the living daylights out of my leg, and I wrapped it in toilet paper. So I can't talk smack.
Well, I can't either. I've never learned to ride a motorcycle.
I stopped
the last
after
time
that.
I rode on a motorcycle, the lens popped out of my glasses, and we had to walk up and down the street to find them.
No, yeah. I guess I can't talk smack about that. That's not bad.
So she rides away on the motorcycle, and that's shortly after, Dade pisses her off by breaking her wipeout score at that cyber bar.
Yeah.
Which I guess was a prototype to a PlayStation game that had yet been released.
That was a huge setup, Tom. That's like
It was a huge setup.
The setup that they were playing on was easily like, what, 15 to 30,000.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that was a big setup.
I mean, what was it? It was, probably 12 different TV screens combined to make one big screen.
And only one person could play at a time. It's not a good investment, Tom.
No, it's not, but it was it was just a prototype. It was a prototype game specifically for this movie. So he crushes her score. She gets angry and grabs her hot boyfriend and, rides away helmetless on the motorcycle.
He does that. All she does is play one prank on him for the swimming pool. Then he douses her with water, right? He sets off the sprinkler system. He gets put in her class. He beats her high score. He messes with her TV shows. You don't want to annoy Johnny Lee Miller because he won't stop.
He will bully the love into you.
So Tom, I hit you in the arm. Like, you're the type of guy that would like give me six-pack.
Well, yeah, that's Johnny Lee Miller too.
Yeah, it's like you got me once. I'm not gonna stop.
I'm gonna make it so you never think about it again.
Hey, so how about this? Let's take a break. Let's look into the cost of installing this Wave Runner thing into our house, and when we come back, we'll talk about more hackers. Welcome back to Movies, Films, and Flicks. Now, we don't quite know how much it would cost to build that thing, but we do know that Tom looks crispy in the dark.
I look crispy in the dark.
You're in the butter zone now, baby.
The butter zone. Whatever that means, I'm in it.
I wish we would have been doing that on set all those years we worked together, man. Like, Mark, I'm in the butter zone, help me out. Or, Mark, we're in the butter zone, smooth sailing.
Or just telling the director at the end of the day, just give it up.
No, like, I guess the butter zone's good, right? Because when you look at butter, and for me, like, when I think of butter, I think of, like, sliding. Like, it's butter. Like, it sounds like something Vince Vaughn would say in Swingers. You're just sort of, it's like you're in the butter zone. Like, but anytime butter's involved, aside from your arteries, it's not going to be like a hard time.
No, it sounds kind of loosey-goosey.
Yeah, you're in the butter zone, baby. Like, it looks like, I feel like you put butter on a slip and slide and just ran across it.
Yeah.
That's what the butter zone is.
It's just smooth sailing.
What about a water park with a slide that just does nothing but butter, and you slide in the butter? Do you know how fast you'd go?
That'd be really gross. That'd be a heck of a shower afterwards.
You would break every record on a slide, though.
Because butter like naturally reflects water, so that's going to be an awful cleanup for everybody afterwards.
Like, the Tampa Typhoon or those massive ones that just drop you down, like the slides that just shoot you way down there. If you took butter on that, people would just never stop.
Why didn't Chevy Chase use butter in Christmas Vacation?
Yeah, exactly. He'd still be sliding.
He could have gone faster, and he probably wouldn't have burned up the sled.
I'd see him in my backyard right now, just sliding through with no snow.
Just flying right through there.
Hey, there he went with like a trail behind him.
That's the butter zone.
We're in the butter zone. All right, so I know you had a couple things to talk about, but I'm going to interrupt that before I lose my train of thought here. And I was watching this movie, and you and I have dealt with many extras in our day, getting them ready and doing all that. And I think the dancing extras in this movie are really good.
There are some pretty decent dancing extras.
I mean,
yeah, and that's in the. Are you thinking specifically of Kate Libby's house party?
And then when they go to the concert and he gets on the stage and then they throw him off.
Oh yeah, what are those guys?
Yeah, I forget their names, but there's
Razor and Blade.
There's no music, and it's just them jumping up and down. And there were a couple weird looking extras, but for the most part, they really nailed the dancing. Like, it seemed like people were really into it.
Yeah, it was like a total mosh pit there with the random urban dance squad band playing at that Hack the Planet concert.
And I'm not trying to mansplain production, but there was no music going on during this time, so the energy you have to keep up for this is pretty exceptional.
It is.
I mean,
yeah, because what they'll do is, obviously, for the listeners, they'll start a dance track or a playback track, and they usually only play it for like 5 seconds to let people get the rhythm, and then they cut it off, so then you can clearly hear the dialogue.
Yeah.
So then it's up to the extras to keep up that energy to non-existent music.
And take after take after take.
Oh, yeah.
So I just want to throw out some props to the dancing extras. If you're a dancing extra in Hackers, send us a message. We want to know what it was like to dance on set of Hackers.
And was Urban Dance Squad actually a really good act?
And did it look crispy in the dark?
Were you guys in the butter zone?
I would say they were.
What's better, the butter zone or the danger zone?
The danger zone, I'd say butter zone. Like, man, you're in the danger zone. Like, danger zone seems to me like a highway to it. Like, you have to get there. But I feel like the butter zone just sort of happens.
It's just like a natural progression of goodness.
Yeah, like, you're dancing, and you just hit the butter zone. But when you're in the danger zone, it's like, that takes a long time. And then you get there. I mean, you don't want to be in the danger zone all the time. I would rather be in the butter zone than the danger zone. Right?
Yeah, that's a good point.
I think being in the danger zone all the time would be really stressful. But
you'd have high cholesterol and high blood pressure from that.
I feel like if you stay in the butter zone for too long, you could possibly get to the danger zone.
Yeah, I could see that. You're having too much of a good time. Eventually, It's going to lead to something you don't want to be in, something dangerous.
And danger zone implies a good or bad outcome. The butter zone is just smooth.
It's smooth as butter.
Oh, wait. All right. So I was drinking Yamazaki 12 last night. Delicious Japanese whiskey. And I had one of them. And I was in the butter zone with that one. I was happy. Then you have a second one, right? And you're still happy, but you don't really need it. But you're like, it's still good. Then you have a third one, and you're like, well, I'm not really enjoying it as much because I'm kind of buzzed. And then you have a fourth one, then you get in the danger zone.
Did you have 4 last night?
No, I had one. I just do one. I just do a nice little nightcap. But you know me, man. I gotta like wake up conscious and run and work out and stuff, and be conscious and not dehydrated and broke. I enjoy all those things. I like so 1 whiskey butter zone, 4 whiskeys danger zone. Does that make sense?
That makes sense.
I think
when you put it on that liquor scale, it does.
I mean, same with like donuts.
But you can't just stop at 1 donut.
I can.
No,
I have never enjoyed a second donut in my life when I've gone back for the second.
That's superhuman resistance then.
I mean, I eat it and I go, I didn't need it. The first one, I'm like, I needed this in my life. The second one, I'm like, that was too much.
No, the first one's like, that was good. The second one is what I need in my life. And then I've got to stop it from there.
And then me running, I would say the butter zone is after about a half hour. And it's from that, like, not a half hour. It's from like half mile to 2 miles. That's my butter zone. But anything after like 3.5 is the danger zone. That's when something gets pulled or an ankle just blows up.
See, I can't run. The knees hurt too much. So just even thinking of running puts me in the danger zone.
Yeah, but watching movies with running, you get in the butter zone.
Yeah, because it's not me running.
Yeah. I think we nailed it.
That's a good call.
Butter zone. All right, so I was talking about these extras. You had a couple things to go over, too, on this movie.
Well, yeah, you wanted to talk about the setup for the Whiplash game and the potential cost of having something like that.
Yeah, let's hear it. What do you got?
So, for money-wise, I mean, first of all, you're going to have nowadays a computer, a pretty high-tech computer, to be able to run that. It's going to have to be fast enough. You're going to have a good enough processor.
5,000?
Oh, at least, I think. At least. Plus, nowadays the screen, so if you're running that thing in 4K, and I mean, let's say that thing was at least a 10-foot screen, you're going to have, what, 6 65-inch TVs, something like that?
Yeah, and then you want a quality one, and I guess if you go to Costco, you can get one now, a 65-inch, all the trimmings for about $4,900, $4,000.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's probably about right. I mean, you're gonna want a 4K TV.
Yeah, so
you're gonna want it to be HDR.
So we're at 10,000 right now because you also have to attach the cables.
Oh yeah.
HDMI's, fast processor, probably
I
a
think
backup.
10,000 minimum.
10,000 minimum. But then you also need the console.
Oh yeah, the
that
actual gaming console with the joysticks.
Yeah, I mean that's a couple grand. Maybe $3,000, because you have to set that up to the computer, and you probably need a technician on call because that's going to break a lot when drunk people are driving it.
Yeah, is this going to be at your home or is it at your whiskey bar?
I would never have this in my whiskey bar, Tom.
This
would be in my Jägermeister bar.
Your Jägermeister bar.
There's people flying everywhere.
I'm saying 15,000 to probably make it at least playable.
I would just, in my whiskey bar, I would play hackers. I would have darts in a corner so people aren't walking around it. Like I would have a little alcove where people can play darts and not have to stop because someone walks in front of it.
You know what this gaming club really reminds me of from Hackers? Is the crazy hangout for all the foot soldiers in the very first Ninja Turtles.
With Sam Rockwell?
Yeah, where they're all like skateboarding around.
What a sweet pad they had.
They did.
And I mean, none of them ever get killed. They just get kicked in the head occasionally by Ninja Turtles. Like, it's not a bad gig.
No, it's not. I mean, very few of them ever got arrested.
This isn't like the John Wick world where henchmen just get slaughtered wholesale. There's just some injuries, like maybe a possible concussion, a spin kick to the face, a messed up jaw. I think they probably have mouth guards.
Which makes me believe that if they're getting injured this much, the Foot Clan must be offering some sort of insurance.
I mean, there has to be. And so, you know what? I think the Foot Clan... All right, so here's what I would do. In a world of superheroes, I would just hire them to basically... I would train them decently, but I'd just hire them to get beat up and keep the heroes busy while I drive away in a car. So I wouldn't need them there for personal protection because I could probably beat all them up. I would just need them there to keep people busy while I escape in a submarine.
In your Fast 8 submarine.
Yeah.
That can outrun Ferraris.
But, right? Like, don't you think that it's just like, I would just hire a henchman to not protect me, but just to make sure that they get beat up before I do.
Well, yeah, it's all about the distraction.
I mean, especially in the day and age of superheroes. Because you're not going to win a battle against Thor with minions. You just want to hope that your minions allow you to get on your magical unicorn and fly away fast enough.
Oh, yeah.
Then you can get in the butter zone.
No, that's right. That's what it's about, butter zone. Just keeping it there. Avoid the danger zone as much as possible. Stay in the butter.
Yeah, you don't want to get... Your henchman can't be too wimpy because then you'd be in the danger zone quickly. Like, you want to hire mid-range. Like, in John Wick 2, the assassins took orders from Ruby Rose who used sign language, so they had to hire henchmen who understood sign language. That's expensive. And they all got killed. Yeah. So I would just hire mid-range, get beat up. I'll take care of you with some insurance.
So then in the terms of Hackers, that mid-range henchman is still Penn Jillette.
Yeah. Because, I mean, Dark Lord or the Plague or, Skateboard Boy still calls him like a worthless troglodyte turdweed, or he calls him like a dickweed or something.
That's right.
Yeah, he calls him dickweed. He says some pretty mean things to him that have nothing to do with the butter zone. And, well, let's see. Yeah, let's see. Do we have the insult he calls him? Nope, I don't have the insult. So he's just, insulting him. He's calling him a dickweed. But he still trusts him enough to run the security.
Yeah.
And the thing is, he insults Penn Jillette, but Penn knows exactly what's going on. Hey, we got a hacker who came through the back door. And it wasn't his fault. It was the woman's fault for using the God password.
Yeah.
So he's insulting a guy who did his job exactly.
Yeah, that's kind of just the ultimate, boss move right there. The guy's still doing your job, still doing the job acceptable, and, in terms of their standards, he's doing everything he's supposed to be doing, but then you still insult him and put him down.
And there's no reason for it. All right, so, Tom, you write about wrestling for Sports Nation, right?
Yes, for Blackheart Gold Pants.
So you write about wrestling. This is a big generalization, but let's say Daniel Cormier or Kurt Angle, right? Wrestle a high schooler, a state champion high school wrestler, and they're in their primes. They would take the state champion high school, they would take the state wrestler out pretty quick.
Yeah, they would.
But
very quick.
That doesn't mean that this state wrestler is a bad wrestler. He's just not as trained as the others.
Yes.
So after Daniel Cormier, a 250-pound Daniel Cormier pins a 130-pound kid, he's not going to be like, hey, dickweed, you suck. He's going to be like, you're a very good wrestler, you're young, I beat you because I'm 100 pounds heavier than you and almost an Olympian.
I'm an Olympian.
Yeah. Right?
I mean, those guys are like the pinnacle of their sport, and they were back when they wrestled too. Yep. I believe Kurt Angle was a world champ. I don't think Cormier ever was, but he was an Olympian.
He had weight cut issues on the Olympic squad. But yeah, he made the Olympics. So I mean, you can't, if you're awesome at something, you can't tell someone who's really good at something that they're stupid. Can you?
Well, the Plague did.
Yeah, he's a jerk.
He is a jerk. He's a good jerk.
Yeah.
He played, you would never think Fisher Stevens to be able to play, kind of a geeky badass, but that's what he is.
His sugar intake is scary.
His skateboarding technique is scary, too.
Well, he sucks down Jolt, and he has candy in his mouth at all times.
He's eating a bunch of licorice.
Yeah, he stays slim. And he's about 40 in this movie, so he must work out if he eats like that.
Well, he's in that VR machine quite a bit. The virtual reality machine.
Oh, yeah. Isn't he training? Like, doing weird stuff?
He's playing some, like first-person shooter, I assume. You never know what he's playing. But he's playing it when, is it Agent Gills comes in for the first time?
When Bunk comes in, yeah.
Yeah. See, that's how he gets his workout in. That's his butter zone.
All right, so he stays in shape through VR training. And just insulting his underlings.
Well, yeah, it's Penn. You have to.
So mean.
It is mean.
All right, you said earlier that you love the soundtrack in this movie. What any jams that you like listening to the most?
Connected by Stereo MC.
Whenever that comes on the radio, because I have 90s on 9 on my Sirius, I just blast that song, and I just think about Deuce Bigalow, Male Gigolo, and
was it in Deuce Bigalow?
Yeah.
Okay.
What a good.
Halcyon, On and On by Orbital, if I even said it right. That's the song in the very beginning where Dade is getting arrested as an 11-year-old. That's a really good one.
I was jamming out to this. I enjoyed it. I think Savage Garden was in here too.
And I believe Ian Softlead. Oh no, it wasn't him. There was some review that I was reading that pretty much just said that this is a romantic dance movie. When it boils down to, because all you want to do is just dance to this whole movie because of the killer soundtrack.
And then, the two of them have a pretty interesting relationship, Jolie and Johnny Lee Miller. Like, they got married afterwards, and then they split up. But when, they both have, like, sex dreams about each other. They have
wearing dresses.
Yep, they want to wear dresses. They want to take, he's like, I want to take you out for a date. And she's like, I don't date. And at the end, they have that nice pool.
Dates.
They have that nice pool scene where he spells out crash and burn.
Yeah, on the lights in the skyline.
I kind of like their relationship. They're equals, and he doesn't like, she wants to go to MIT. It's not like she's not going to quit her job like in a Christmas movie and move back to a small town to be with him. They're going to keep moving forward.
Yeah.
And probably go scuba diving together or surfing because they already have all the gear.
Well, they're crash and burn.
What a coincidence, right?
I think they set it up. I think they set up the alias names probably just for that.
Well, he didn't know. Remember, he set it up.
I mean, like the creators set it up.
Oh, of course they did.
Just so they could pull that off at the end.
Oh yeah, crash and burn. I mean, that's good. That shows thought. I mean, this is like I don't know, man. This is definitely his best movie because he also directed Inkheart with Brendan Fraser, K-Pax, the Kevin Spacey classic, and The Skeleton Key. With the only shot that I love in that movie is when Gina Rollins falls face first on a table and just clunks on it and falls off.
Yeah, this is, in my opinion, this is his best movie.
And I think the reason is it's just it's fun, right?
It is fun.
That's right.
And then, yeah, I mean, it just, and then it you know, you get into the whole competition between the two, between Dade Murphy, and Kate Libby, you know, and that kind of ups the ante. Like shortly after Joey copies that garbage file, they start, you know, kind of falling for each other.
Mm-hmm.
And then they start off like the whole hacker war competition, to mess with the Secret Service. So that starts to like really pick up the intensity between the two, and you really see their love blossom.
And then they got married.
And they got married shortly after.
And she got with Billy Bob.
Yeah, I still never understood that relationship.
Hey, he's my homeboy, man. I love Billy Bob Thornton.
It's just weird.
We're best friends, man.
Does he still have her tattoo?
I don't know. I worked on a... Hey, so anything else you want to talk about this movie before we get into our hackers list? Or no, people who like to look at computers list?
Boy, I could go on and on about this movie. I mean, we already touched on it a little bit, the dialogue, but I love like all the one-liners in this movie. They're a little corny, but I think they work so well, and a lot of it is from the Plague. Like when the Plague and Dade Murphy, you know, they first meet through like an internet Skype chat, like what we're doing, but back in 1995, which I don't think was possible back then. But, you know, the Dade Murphy says like, "Hey, you mess with my mom, I'll kill you." And Plague responds, "Kid, don't threaten me. There are worse things than death, and I can do all of them." Like, there's just so many good one-liners in this movie that I just have too much fun with it.
I like when the Plague destroys Johnny Lee Miller's boombox, and Johnny Lee Miller just goes, "Shit!"
Yeah, he turns around and smashes it with a bat.
I mean, that's a good response, though. This kid's a teenager. They treat these children, they're all 18 years old, and they treat them like they're adults, but these are kids in this movie.
Kids.
But I just love, well, they're all 30, but I do love when, I don't know why, like, when does this happen? When Johnny Lee Miller looks at a guy and goes, "Blow me," and then the guy looks at him and goes, "Thank you."
Thank you.
Was that Plague who said thank you?
It was Plague, yeah.
Johnny Lee Miller goes, "Blow me," and then there's a long pause. "Thank you."
Thank you. I'm literally looking at it right now on the IMDb quote page.
I think you gotta. I think the guy who played Plague. I have his name up here. I'm scrolling back up to it. Fisher Stevens. You could tell he loved. I mean, he probably didn't know if the movie was gonna be any good or not, but he never had roles like this, so I bet he really embraced it.
Oh, I bet he did too. I love all of his machoism. You know, as they, to sum the movie up at the very end, our hero hackers, you know, they hack the Gibson again to try to prove their innocence, to get more information and expose the Plague for setting up this salami slicing scheme. So they're hacking the Gibson and implanting their own viruses, and there is the Plague and you know, Penn Jillette, you know, fighting off the viruses and trying to keep the Gibson computer online. You know, he's just going on and on. You know, he even like calls Dade Murphy on the payphone telling him to give it up and calls him a pissant. And instead of like a computer, I always found it funny, instead of like a computer at the Gibson, it's just like a big series of circular buttons that they're pushing.
Yep.
Like, what are the commands behind those buttons and how do you know what they're doing?
And he's trying to sink boats.
Yeah, trying to tip over the oil tankers.
And there's a thing in here that I liked. Oh, they're like giving stuff flu shots, and then Lorraine Bracco, she doesn't understand any of it, so she's the one going, "What is this?" And I'm like, "Oh, well, this is a flu shot. These are rabbits. These are things that spread." So I guess it was smart to have her in there, because
kind of explaining what's going on.
Like, she had no idea what was going on, so then they had to explain to her. It's like in Viking season 1 when they brought the priest back, and then they had to explain everything to the priest. I mean, it's a narrative decision, but it works.
Yeah. "We got a rabbit in the system. Give it a flu shot." "Rabbits, kernels, cookies. Tell me what's going on." And then there they get it. And then there they have to explain it.
I want to be the extra who just, like, because I think a guy explains it to her that's not Fisher Stevens or Penn Jillette. Like, it's some other guy in there.
Oh, here you go. Hal, who is Penn Jillette. There's a new virus on the database. Margot responds, what's happening? Hal says, it's replicating, eating up memory. What do I do? The plague says, type cookie, you idiot. I'll head them off at the pass. Like, what's the pass? Like, that's not... I'll just like it, and again, him being mean to his minion.
And he's asking it, Penn Jillette they say there's no dumb question. He's like, I haven't dealt with this before. How do I do it? That's a smart question, and he gets called an idiot. Like, he could be lying. He could be like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just going to pretend. I'm going to unleash the cotton candy glob. Like, like he's asking questions that you should ask during a hack when you have your boss there.
At least what we would think they would ask.
And he's staying cool about it, too.
Well, yeah, he's not the one, he probably has no idea about the money scheme either. Yeah. I doubt he's in on it.
So he's just doing his job and just getting insulted. Thank you.
That's the plague.
Thank you. That pooper line is stupid, though.
All spandex. It is a privilege, not a right.
I like that her boyfriend comes up to him and calls them Leopard Boy and the Decepticons.
Yeah.
And also, I do, so the guy in there, Freak, who's played by Renoli Santiago, watch the movie, watch Hackers. So it's weird, it's for free on Amazon Prime, but there's a Hackers for rent, and then there's a free one. That's very sneaky from Amazon Prime. Because I thought I had to rent it, and then I looked down further, I'm like, hey, there's another Hackers. So I almost paid to rent it, then I realized that there was a free one.
Yeah, I almost got caught in that trap, too.
But when you listen to Renoli Santiago, Freak in there, he speaks exactly like Mark Wahlberg does. I'm freaking. What's with all the wind? Like, the glass can become sand. Like, just listen to him in it. And I think Mark Wahlberg stole his cadence from Freak in this movie.
He may have. May need to contact Wahlberg and go into Wahlburgers and ask him about it.
And then get knocked out?
No, well, the only reason he would knock you out is if that's what he actually did and you exposed him.
Imagine that. And I would have gotten away with it, too, if it wasn't for that Hoffmeyer. For movies, films, and flicks. But just listen, like, there's a lot of similarities between Santiago and Mark Wahlberg when they talk, so I love that.
That's probably the only time that's ever been compared.
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah. I think that, but that, it's a compliment. It's good. All right, you want to get into our people who are good at looking at screens list?
Yes. So
this originally went to a hackers list, and then back in 2016 or 2015, I did a random awards. I'm like, best looking at a screen award. And it went to Alicia Vikander, her character Heather Lee from Jason Bourne. That's the worst Bourne movie by a butter mile, a country biscuit butter mile. But she's really good at looking at screens because 90% of her performance is looking at a screen in that movie.
And chances are it was probably a green screen. It was just probably a green slate on there.
Yeah, so
with the VFX later. So she really had to act.
And she wasn't even typing. She was just behind people who were typing. So she had to look over Hank Hacker's shoulder and oh yeah. They're on 22nd Street. They're going to 3rd. Look at that screen.
I will say the actual typing in Hackers is not good. Anytime you see the fingers moving over a keyboard, it's really bad.
But it's that world.
It is that world, but I mean, even back then, these guys trained for weeks to learn how to type on a keyboard before, and it seems like they really struggle. And I remember back in elementary school, doing the words per minute typing, learning how to type. And it's I think these guys would fail all those classes.
Yeah, but the keys were different, and you have to be more patient as a hacker in this world. Because these are the elite.
They are the elite, but they know everything.
Yeah, but they're doing everything right, though, so they must be... that's the way they type in this world, Tom.
Not slow.
You know what they needed? They needed Vikander from Jason Bourne looking over their shoulders.
Or maybe the hackers that we're about to mention.
Yeah, so I got so for a supervisor of all the hackers, I got Heather Lee, Alicia Vikander. I mean, she'd be a good supervisor, no nonsense.
Yeah.
I mean, I think she would... I could picture her working a 20-hour day. I'm not going to leave because Vikander's still here.
That's a good one.
Yeah? A lot of... I mean, I guess I can... I'll put her picture in the post because you're just going to like it. The 10 best people who are great at looking at computers.
That's pretty good.
Who do you got?
So I didn't necessarily create it into a list from what I would a preferred list. and I had trouble with it, so I kind of almost had to break it down to movie universes. But if I'm going to say like my overall supervisor, it's probably got to be Thomas Gabriel from Live Free or Die Hard. He's really good at looking over shoulders if he doesn't kill you. But I think all the hackers in the Die Hard movies are top notch, from Gabriel to Matthew Farrell to Warlock and even Theo from Die Hard 1.
Yeah, but I wouldn't want to work for Gabriel because you'd just die.
Yeah, but he is an effective supervisor.
But see, Vikander won't kill you. And I didn't break it down either. I just kind of came up with that on the fly. But who would you rather have, Vikander or Oliphant as a supervisor if you're a hacker?
Oh, Vikander.
Okay.
She's better to look at, too.
Well, but she wouldn't murder you.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Oliphant, man, he's a handsome guy. I just think he would give you withering looks. Like, he would string together something like, you stupid raccoon, dummy, idiot person. Like 4 insults in a row that just land.
Well, yeah, then he'd kidnap your daughter.
Yeah. And then he'd leave you in a trailer and get you shot.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, he's very good. And I like Warlock a lot in that. He had a sweet setup, though. He had a nice chair.
He did. He's the type who could have that wipeout setup in his basement.
Yeah. Yeah, he probably would put it in, but then he would hate everyone being in his room because he seems like a total control freak.
Yeah.
I'm freaking. All right, so my next one is a twin. It's a twin duo, right? And it's Lyle Selby, and it is well, he's uncredited, but so it's Lyle Selby and Seth Green's other guy from Enemy of the State. Seth Green's the hacker in Italian Job, and he's a hacker in Enemy of the State.
Nice. I have an Enemy of the State guy as well.
Because and all he does is look in a van, Seth Green, an Enemy of the State. And then in Italian Job, he's just in a car hacking.
That's a good one.
Yeah, so I got twins. I got some Seth Green twins.
That's a good one. I have Brill from Enemy of the State, played by Gene Hackman.
Oh, he's a hacker in that?
Yeah, I mean he was like an old like NSA operative, but he's still a hacker. Like he knows all that technological computer stuff.
And it's not lost on me that Gene Hackman plays a hacker.
Yeah.
The hacker Hackman.
So that's a good one. Yeah, so I've got him as number 2 on my list.
Oh, I like that. So next for me, it is Boris from GoldenEye.
Alan Cumming.
The only problem is I would put him in an office, like a separate office, if he was a hacker, because he would bother all the other hackers with the pen.
Oh, that's right.
Like
the clicking of the pen.
Yeah, he would be in a secured office away from everybody. I'd give him windows, but I would not if he decided, because he would just be boisterous and yelling at people and going, aha.
No, I wouldn't even give him windows. He's in a cubicle. He's in a concrete cubicle with his computer.
Because how terrible it would be just sit next to him and hearing the clicks.
Awful. And he's such an annoying character, too. But he's a great hacker, but he's an annoying character.
Yeah, so I would put him somewhere else. I wouldn't want to deal with his clicking, but I'd put him on my team. All right, so who you got next?
I've got Neo, Thomas Anderson from The Matrix.
Oh my gosh, you're going Keanu?
Yeah, I got Keanu in there.
Was he a hacker in that?
Yeah, he was.
In the first Matrix he was.
In the first Matrix. Well, I mean, technically in all of them he is.
Yeah, I guess you don't stop becoming a hacker.
Yeah, he's totally all up in his Windows DOS mode there in the... Yeah, I guess it wouldn't be DOS back then, but yeah, he's all up in those root files, copying files and folders for the White Rabbit people.
Oh, yeah. All right. Well, imagine Keanu dealing with Boris.
He'd snap his neck or shoot him. Like he'd get 2 pin clicks in and then he's done.
All right, so my next one is Lowry, Jake Johnson from Jurassic World. I don't like the movie, but I'm a huge fan of Jake Johnson, and I just don't see Jake Johnson ever being a hacker, because he's just loud and boisterous. Like I see him having trouble opening a beer can, let alone hack. But yeah, I would just love to have, because he's obviously good at what he does, to work there. So I would have him there just to kind of add some humor, have some fun, you know?
So you would have him over. Hold on, give me 2 seconds here.
The other character's name, her name?
I was gonna say the girl from the first Jurassic Park. It's a Linux system.
Oh, she nailed that.
This.
I was also thinking Sam Jackson from Jurassic Park, but I had already added. I've already talked about him in our Jurassic Park pod. so I'm trying to cover new people.
Ariana, is it Lex? Is that her name?
Yeah, Lex.
Ariana Richards.
And then also the girl that shoots down Jake Johnson when he asks her out in Jurassic World. She's like, "No, I'm seeing somebody."
Yeah. He is good in that. He is funny.
I just want a loud, boisterous person sitting in a room hacking.
And I don't think you could put Samuel L. Jackson in that category. I mean, he's not around long enough, and he loses his arm. I mean, you can't hack with one arm.
No, I mean, he's good at looking at computer screens, though. Remember, this is look at computer screens.
That's true. Okay. The looker-atters.
I mean, he's a good looker-atter. Like, he does quality looker-atters. All right, who do you got next?
I have got 3 guys from the Mission Impossible world, from Benji Dunn, Luther Stickle, and Ethan Hunt.
Oh, I had Mission Impossible, Ethan Hunt.
Yeah, all 3 of those guys are kind of on the same level for me, and they're all in the same movie universe.
I mean, their typing is legit.
They do have good typing. They're great at looking computer screens or any sort of LCD screen.
Very good at looking at screens. I mean, they're good at looking at screens when they're hanging off the ground.
Yeah, that's kind of all they do.
A lot of, hanging upside down, looking at a screen. A lot of good
screens.
Yep, looking at eyeball screens.
Yeah, they're legit.
All right, so for me, I got Tom Scoggins from Deep Blue Sea. That's Michael Rappaport.
Okay, of course you would.
Because, so I did a commentary for Deep Blue Sea on the podcast that almost killed me because it was incredibly difficult. But Rappaport, I listened to the commentary, and Samuel Jackson's like, Rappaport had no idea what he was doing on this movie. He's like, oh, it was just green screened. And so Rappaport's trying to pretend when he knows what's going on, but he's not smart enough to look like he's really into it. Like, Sam Jackson was just blasting on Rappaport in the commentary. But I kind of, he was very good at looking at screens. If you type in Deep Blue Sea, Michael Rappaport, you'll see some very quality screen looking from him. He adds, what I like about Rappaport and his screen looking at him is it's very earnest. It's very earnest screen looking. Like he's really striving to look at screens in Deep Blue Sea. So that's why I added him. It's a great screen looker.
Yeah, that's a good one. I can see that.
Do you have any more?
I do. I have got a few of the cast guys from the movie Sneakers, which is another great hacking movie with Robert Redford.
Oh, yeah.
So Martin Bishop's a good screen looker. And this is kind of a catch-22, but Erwin Whistler Emery, and he was played by Jason Strahan. Oh. And he's blind in the movie, but he's very good at kind of hacking and picking up on digital sound signals.
Oh, wow. I like that.
He's kind of like the equivalent to Contact with
Jodie Foster?
Yeah, I'm trying to think of the blind man in that movie.
Jodie Foster did some good screen looking in Contact.
She does have some.
I should have picked a submarine movie, a guy who does the radar in a submarine.
You could pick pretty much everybody from The Hunt for Red October.
Oh, dude, what about the guy from Spaceballs? They got the bleeps, I got the creeps, I got the bleep.
It's a good one.
And so the last one I had on my list was John Cho from Searching, where he just all he does is look into screens. It's like it's based on like computers. You're looking at computer screens. Very good movie. Very, very good. 90-something% Rotten Tomatoes. Really great film. All he does is look at screens in that movie. And he crushes it.
Well, I had a couple honorable mentions that we could throw in there.
Yeah.
Riley Poole from National Treasure.
Oh! All right, yeah, he's my number one. We're done.
Oh, he just jumped to your number one?
We're done. We're out of here. Thank you for coming. This is movies. No, I'm joking. All right, what was it?
He's solid. I've got Nicholas Hathaway from Black Hat.
Yeah, he's good.
Chris Hemsworth. And then Mr. Universe from Firefly and Serenity.
Oh, yeah. That's some very good screen looking.
Yeah, that's all he does.
And the guy in The Matrix who just looks at the screens.
Oh, Tank?
No, the main guy who just, like the orbital.
Oh, the Oracle.
The orbital.
The orbital.
Dude, Riley Poole, 5 times. That's it. Man,
he helped steal the Declaration of Independence, the greatest heist in the history of heists.
Without guns. And because of National Treasure, every time I do a keypad, I run my fingers over every number. I do. You know that?
No.
I do. So now if someone traces where my fingers hit, they'll see that I hit every single one of them. Because of National Treasure.
They need to make a third one.
They need to, but man, they won't with Nick Cage and because that movie was like 200. The second one was like 150 million to make.
Yeah, they're big movies. Those were blockbusters.
Yeah, the second one was massive too.
I mean, both of those came out. The first one was like '03 or '04.
It was huge.
Second one was just a couple years later. I mean, those were monster movies for the time. Yeah. Even nowadays, that's a big budget, but yeah, those were huge.
I think you and I got probably the perfect hackers here. We got some supervisors, we got some gags, we got some bits, we got some twins. We got everything in here.
Twins.
We got everything in here. They could pull off a righteous hack while people stare at screens. Have you ever pulled off a righteous hack, Tom?
Have I ever pulled off a righteous hack? I felt like way back when MySpace was a thing, where you could code and like embed like your own little, music player. I felt like I was hacking at times when I did that.
Was it a righteous hack?
It was a righteous hacker back like just when you had like old, like Windows DOS and just booting up old DOS games. How you'd have to type in the backslashes and the root files. I thought I was doing righteous hacks just to play a Ninja Turtle game.
You're in the butter zone? Oh, no.
I was so in the butter zone.
Before we kind of end our thing here with this movie, I just want to say the argument between I almost called him Barf, the Plague and his boss, where they're surrounded by probably 70 extras who work at this company, and they are screaming at each other about, you're going to cause a real ecological disaster. I can cancel at any time. Stop the thing. Stop getting money. You need, like, they're yelling at each other.
Oh, on the escalator.
Yeah, very, and bad ADR, very secret stuff.
Yeah, they're talking about, like, natural disasters and felonies, and they're openly talking about it on an escalator in the middle of the workplace, and nobody hears them.
And I also want to say, when you watch the scene where Johnny Lee Miller gets arrested by the Secret Service, they manhandle him. They, like, use his body to slam open a door.
Yeah.
Like they were really rough on Johnny Lee Miller in this one. Those dudes are throwing him around.
And then when he puts his head back out the cop door and he's screaming, hack the planet, they, like, grab his head and, like, throw him back in.
Yeah, they watch the movie and just see how they and he's like, the trash! We're
trashing our rights, man.
Yeah. I mean, it was smart. That was smart that he did that. But, no, all right, so this is random, but we're doing a upcoming podcast. This guy Adam and I, we're doing a podcast about snowmobile action scenes, and then the movie Icebreaker, starring Bruce Campbell and Sean Astin. Really bad. I had to listen to the Riff Tracks version of it just to get through it. But there's a scene where I don't think they could afford stuntmen. So there's a fight in a kitchen, and this stuntman lifts Sean Astin was little in 2000, before Lord of the Rings. Picks Sean Astin up, slams him on a pile of, like, on a table full of dishes, and I swear to you, Tom, Sean Astin has the look of just sheer fear in his eyes while he's getting manhandled by. I don't think Sean Astin expected that he would just get his ass kicked so badly in this scene.
Nobody should treat Rudy like that.
But he got picked up. I swear to you, man, the look on his face was just like fear. I don't think he was acting either.
So that came out, you said, in 2000?
Yeah.
Man, then he must have put on a lot of weight in a very short amount of time to start Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, because he had to, right? Didn't Samwise have to be a little bigger?
Yeah, he was kind of a chunky hobbit.
Yeah, but I mean, because he was he was just normal Sean Astin in this one. But just, if you ever listen to the Riff Tracks version of Icebreaker, it's $1.99 to rent on Amazon. He just gets picked up and slammed, and he just looks like he's going to cry. But Johnny Lee Miller's getting slammed all over the place, and he looked like he was just playing it off.
Well, he's a tough Brit.
Yeah, you're right. Oi! I don't know if Brits, if that's what they do. But any final thoughts on the hack before we head out of here?
I guess just a quick thing. I always find it fascinating with movies and how they depict, what the future is going to be like, especially in, like, the technological realm. And it's like my best example right now is, like, Fast 7 with Ramsey. I guess you could have thrown her in with a hacker, but it's like, she's created the God's Eye that takes their, uses, like, cell phone and tablet internet footage, security camera footage, And so like that's like a real world fear now from people. Like, I see people all the time covering their computer camera because they're afraid people are like hacking in and, stealing their images or recording their voice without them knowing it. And so like this movie Hackers was back in the mid 90s, and I just find it fascinating like how accurate they actually were with a lot of things.
Oh,
so it's
yeah.
like an example is like, Johnny Lee Miller is dressed up at one point and he's got his 1.44 megabyte floppy disks on him. And he's like pulling them out of his jacket and like in front of the mirror going, you feel lucky? You feel lucky, punk? And it's like nobody carries around a floppy disk, but everybody carries around a USB flash drive.
Yep.
Everyone, all these kids are connected to their tablets and their phones and their computers. Back then, everyone's carrying around a laptop. Nowadays, everyone's got a cell phone, which is, technically the same thing.
The hackers would have shit if they had one of these cell phones.
Oh yeah. Could have done everything off your iPhone or Galaxy or whatever you got. So yeah. I just found that kind of interesting that, this was like really the turn of the technological age with the internet and just how more or less accurate they were in depicting what it would be like.
Man, hackers got it right.
They got it right. They knew what they were doing.
Steel Dawn didn't. If you've watched that movie that we covered on our podcast. If you guys, Tom, you should listen to our Steel Dawn podcast. You're going to laugh a lot.
Tell me what Steel Dawn is. I actually don't know what that is.
It's Patrick Swayze, and it's a post-apocalyptic movie where he had zero sword training and he had an aluminum sword, but it was after Dirty Dancing. So the majority of his fights in this movie were keeping him away from sword fighting and more about his spinning and dance moves.
Oh my gosh.
And the opening scene, he's upside down doing like a handstand, resting on his head, and these sand people attack him, trying to steal his bag. And he's just trying to he slaughters all of them. But my favorite part is this sand person pulls back its left or right fist as far as it can go and just swings and just wallops Swayze. I mean, it's one of the greatest punches ever landed ever in cinema. So you should listen to our podcast.
I don't know how I didn't know about this movie. He has got a righteous beard.
It's on Vudu for free. You can watch it.
Holy cow. He looks like Eric Bana from Troy in one of these pictures.
Yeah, so it's basically a remake of Shane, but he shows up to this town where there's a boss and he's being a jerk, and he's kind of an asshole in the movie if you think about his end plan. But he does get hit in the face really hard by a sand person, and it's worth seeing.
So he went from Red Dawn right into Steel Dawn.
Yeah, well, and then this was when Dirty Dancing came out, so he was probably like, crap. These two movies come out in the same year.
Man, him and the Dawn movies.
And Black Dog, Red Dawn, Black Dog, Steel Dawn.
Classic Swayze.
Has he done any other movies with colors in them? Roadhouse, Steel Dawn. No colors there. All right. So, Tom, thank you for joining me, man. This was fun. I'm really glad you recommended this movie because I loved watching it again.
Yes, thank you for having me.
And you're coming back, right? We're going to do Real Genius on the next one?
Yes, that sounds good.
We're going to keep this theme alive?
I love Real Genius.
All right. So for me, Mark Hoffmeyer, and for Tom, Mad Dog Tresmer, this is Movies, Films, and Flicks. We'll see you next week.